our stuff has improved tremendously the more we've used it.
Mm-hmm.
Hi.
So,
Hello, hi.
welcome,
How are you?
Jagnoor Aneja.
Hello. Is it good morning or good afternoon or good evening?
It's good evening here. It's good evening. Hi, I'm from Delhi.
Hi. Good evening and welcome.
Great.
Wow. So tell us a little bit about what you're doing in New Delhi, Jagnoor.
So I'm a runway director, and I direct fashion shows in India, so Delhi, India, both. And we also have a modeling school, and we have a modeling institute where we train models and actors to, be part of the Indian cinema and reality shows.
And Jagnoor, also tell us about your music album, because there are a lot of
Sorry?
things you do apart from fashion shows. So, if you can
Yeah.
share more details about it.
Absolutely. So, besides my fashion shows, I've also done a few television shows on MTV India. So that was a reality show that we did with. It was a reality show based on love relationships. So I was a contestant over there, and I did not win the show, but I did two seasons back to back. So it was season one, and then it was season two. And recently, I did one more show on Amazon Prime with Shilpa Shetty, which was called Love Me, Hear Me. So it was again a blind dating show that we did. So, besides sending in a lot of people, giving break to people, I have also been doing a lot of different kind of shows wherein, we give platform to people.
Great. And
Yeah.
how is the life during COVID going on as far as the entertainment industry is concerned, and personally for you? How are these 2 months going for you?
So Ankit, life is not really great in India, but there was a complete lockdown for a good 2 months. But the at the end of the day, nobody can stay at home and just be happy. You have to get out, go work, and do a lot of things. So I think the lockdown has gone aside, and I think the second wave is going to start, wherein people have started getting out, doing all the precautions, whether it's using the mask or
Yeah.
following social distancing. So people are publicizing it, they are promoting it, but I think we still have to be really careful while we get out, because the public transports are on, the cab services are on now,
Yeah.
and the office are working in full strength. So there's a lot of precautions that we all need to take right now.
Great. And how the industry shaping up? I mean, post-COVID, because I think post-COVID we need to change a lot of rules in different industries, and I think entertainment industry is one of them. They required a lot of people to watch them in different theaters and different, maybe auditoriums and things like that. So, how the industry will shape up post-COVID? If we can discuss.
Absolutely. I think one of the worst hit industries is our industry, which I think is the entertainment and the showbiz, and especially the Bollywood industry, because there were such major hit movies lined up, and and they have no releases. For example, just before lockdown, there was a Irfan Khan movie. I'm sure English medium,
Yeah,
everybody's heard about it.
yeah,
It was so popular. People were just getting into the cinemas hall when this COVID situation just rose up, and the halls just got shut, and there was nothing that people could do. And now I see there are a lot of Bollywood movies which are now releasing on OTT platforms.
yeah.
So I'm looking forward for both of them, but that's a good thing that at least the entertainment should not stop for people, and good stuff is coming on.
Great. And also, there were a couple of sad news from Bollywood as well. Two of our biggest star they passed away due to some, yeah.
So
And that I
that's
think,
a shock. That's a shock for, I think, not just the industry. It's a shock for the whole nation, and
yeah,
their followers all over the world. Irfan Khan, there is a segment which is called actors, and there's a
yeah,
segment which is called entertainers. But
yeah,
Irfan Khan had that
true,
magnitude, and he had so much of capabilities that he was an artist, he was an entertainer, he was an actor, and same was with Rishi Ji. So, two legendary names just going away like that, it's not believable for us. So that was something really sad that happened, but we have to go, and, they went under such circumstances. Thank God, I should not say anything, but it was not COVID, but still,
yeah,
it was a huge blow to the industry.
true. And you won't believe, Jagnoor, I got a lot of calls from internationally from people who are not Indians, and they know about Irfan Khan, and they said it's hard to believe that someone with I mean, stature and personality, and he worked across. I mean, he worked in Bollywood, he worked in Hollywood, and he's a known name, and he passed away just like that.
Absolutely, absolutely. He was not a national figure. He was.
Yeah.
Uh, So he was in a lot of movies like Jurassic Park, and he did a lot of Hollywood projects and a lot of good stuff. So he didn't have fan base in India. It was worldwide, I think.
Yeah. And we get back to movies. Do you see most
Just a
of the
minute,
movies?
your voice is. Yeah.
So, do you see a lot of movies which are lined up for release? I mean, how do we
Uncle,
cope up with
I
all?
can't hear you. I can't.
Can
Just
you
a minute.
rejoin
Just
again?
a minute.
Because sometimes there's the problem. If you can rejoin again, you will have a voice too. Yeah. Yes, Rakesh ji.
I
So
was just thinking about Amitabh Bachchan doing this Gulabo something,
yeah,
Gulabo Sitabo something in Netflix directly.
yeah,
You know,
yeah, yeah.
he hasn't released it in cinemas. So I think that's a smart move. I think that I've always had a lot of respect for Amitabh Bachchan, and I think that was a smart move. You know, if the theaters are shut down, get into streaming. You
Yeah.
know, and so that's I think that's the way to go because I'm amazed that somebody of his age is so comfortable with a new medium. You know,
Yeah.
he's happy to go straight into that, and while a lot of younger stars are still getting used to it. That was my two
I
pennies
think
worth. I'm not
Amitabh
much.
Bachchan is one of the actors who started with black and white, and I think, and he's now doing the streaming, and he's now on the OTT platform, and he covers the different eras of the entertainment industry, and mostly the technology driven because he's very active on Twitter and all those platforms as well. So
Yes.
hats off to Amitabh Bachchan. But let's get back to Jagnoor. So Jagnoor, so we were discussing about the movies. So there are a lot of movies lined up, and you know that when you talk about movies, it's not just about entertainment. There's a lot of money involved, and it's a big industry in Bollywood. But people around the world, they are not aware about how big is the Bollywood industry. So how those producers and those big production houses will cope up within that time frame, because we are always seeing that they have to manage their movie release within a week's time so that everyone will get the share of the screen. So how that will shape up now in future?
COVID-19 has given such a blow to the industry, Ankit, that coping up with this, and having so much of there's so many projects lined up, and they're casting for so many things, and everything just got on hold. But
Yeah,
on the other hand, the good thing was that there were a lot of releases which were already there, and the movies were ready.
yeah,
So of course they are bearing a lot of losses, but now the good thing is that they are releasing them on OTT platforms, something on Netflix, something on Amazon Prime. So that's the good thing that is happening. But as
yeah,
far as Bollywood is concerned, there are a lot of things, and they are saying they will be practicing a lot of social distancing. But we know our sets are so huge. We have those artists and dancers and songs, and we have such elaborate things happening, and so maintaining that kind of thing. So I think it's quite a lot of problem in this crisis. But yes, eventually what we just hope is to get a vaccine very soon, and just get over with it now.
great. And Jagnoor, I'll tell you, I mean, on our IBM TV, there are a lot of people from Hollywood join us, and especially Hollywood producers. And we were discussing about how big is Bollywood. So if you can convey to our viewers around the world, how big is Bollywood industry, and what are the scope if someone wants to work in Bollywood from a different country?
Bollywood has a lot of scope, and I don't think Bollywood is a very small industry, because I think, I see Bollywood fans across the globe. I have traveled extensively. I've been to the US, and I've been to UK, Europe, and wherever I go, there's somebody or the other who has this craze for Bollywood. So, all those dhumkas and dancing and all those Shah Rukh Khan styles, it's all popular all over the world. So, I think Bollywood really doesn't need that kind of introduction. But yes, there's a lot of scope in Bollywood, and if you have some good pronunciation skills, diction skills, communications, and if you're an overall package, whether it's your looks, whether it's your physical appearances, and it's the way you talk, and the way, if you understand the language very well, then Bollywood welcomes you with an open arm.
I think that's any entertainment industry, right? You have to have that character. It's not just talent; it's that character, a little bit of an attitude. Not. I'm not talking about arrogance, but that ability to carry that character and make it engaging. I think you're absolutely right. Wow. So you got quite an interesting part of the industry. So share some of the exciting moments that you have been dealing with.
So my last show that I did a show with Amazon Prime with a Bollywood actress, Shilpa Shetty. She was hosting it. So it was a very different show that we had. It has a lot of international versions also. So it was called Love Me, Hear Me. So it was a blind dating show, and we had a GoPro right here. So the girl could not see our face, but she could do what we had prepared for her the whole day. So we were three boys preparing three different dates, and at the end of the day, she had to choose which guy was actually the best one, the best date that the guys had prepared for the girl. So the concept was really nice. The concept was really new, and it was so fun to shoot for it. So in one of the dates, I had actually created my classes where I was training models. So we created the whole scene, and we had models walking, and I was actually talking to the girl I was virtually dating. So she was seeing the whole class happening, the models walking, but the thing she could not see was my face. So so that was a very nice experience.
Awkward. It's kind of like the TV show in a way, The Voice, right? You just hear the person's voice and their talent, but you don't see them. So your judgment is purely on their talent or their character. It's not about just their physique or anything. That would be awkward though, because sometimes you judge a person by the expressions on their faces, right? Their smile. But what a unique concept, right? So that's very, very unique.
So I see so many people saying that a person should be good from inside, and but what I feel actually is that anybody who says this is absolutely right. A person should be good from within, but when you see a person, actually you always judge a book by its cover. So there's always a first impression that you create when you see a person. So I
No
think
doubt. Yes.
If I add on that, how important is your first impression in the Bollywood industry and the first perception? Because
Right.
first impression is, I think, very important in the industry when you want to do some work in Bollywood or in entertainment industry. Where do you think, a person should work? Because you are a trainer as well. So what is that important, and how one should, showcase themselves whenever they are going out for auditions or things like that?
so it's not just with the Bollywood industry. I think it's all over the world. You have to give auditions. You have to do justice to a character you're auditioning for. So if you get into the skin of that, you're able to portray it well. Or sometimes, on the other hand, on the contrary, if your face and your style matches to the character that the director is looking for, so that is a really plus for you. So if the director really likes you, he can actually give you some acting classes for a month or two and can hire you for a project. So sometimes I think it's your luck also, and sometimes I think it's your talent also. So if your talent and luck fall at the right place on the right time, then you're a star overnight. Otherwise, I think it might just take some years also to be something in Bollywood.
No, I agree. I mean, it takes a lot of talent just to be in front of a camera. I want to tell you what, that was something that I never really wanted to do and never thought I would do, because I was an engineer my whole life. And when I met the producer of Money Masters TV show at a hackathon, I told him, "You will never see me on that side of the camera ever. I am very happy helping and doing back here. I hired my own PR for my company because I didn't like that." But but it was a new journey to do the TV show with him. He lured me with interviewing some of the world's most famous people who became millionaires from, you know, being an engineer. So it was interesting to me. And so I got in front of the camera just to be able to talk to these people. That's why I did it. And, you know, I found out it's not so bad. You know, you just have to kind of find that right fit. That, you know, I did a lot of research because I wanted to be better in front of the camera, because it's a lot of work. It's not always 100% natural, is it?
No, it's not. It's not. I think it's not natural. It has a lot of work. You have to really work hard for it. But sometimes, you know, if it's natural, it's naturally coming to you. You're lucky. You're actually in for something really good.
Right.
So that's the best part. But you know, I think a thing that really waits in the Bollywood, or you know, you would say the television industry in India is, you know, you should have the right kind of contacts. If you have the right kind of socializing network and you know the right kind of people, then sometimes maybe, you know, it's your destiny that helps you more than your talent.
Yeah, no, and I think that it's a combination, because some days you could be a natural at it, but you're just not having a good day, and you got to find that character to pull out and do what you have to do in front of a camera. People don't realize that you know, as natural as it may come for some people, there are days that it's not natural, and you've got to be somebody that you're not, and that's work. That's a lot of work to make it look natural. And I commend you for that, because what you're doing is bringing us entertainment so that we can shut down and feel like we're somewhere else. And I think that's beautiful that you can do that. And
Thank you.
and
Thank you.
bring us the attire it takes to make it all look so beautiful and wonderful. I mean, that's work too, right? So you're in fashion.
Yes, so I have a modeling agency also, and you know, it's not just actors. We have a lot of models also, which we train, and you know, we tell them about ramp walk. We tell them, you know, how to walk on ramp, how to pose on ramp, and you know, all stuff like that. And trust me, it's so crazy because you know, there's so many youth who's actually wanting to get into modeling, try to be a face here, and you know, training them is so much of fun actually sometimes. So you know, we train them in a lot of things like wardrobe management, the way you walk, and you know, it's a task for girls to walk in big heels, so we teach them all of that, and you know, basic makeup techniques and acting techniques and camera facing, and you know, just random confidence, how to
Posture.
strike a conversation. Yeah, absolutely. Posture, body language, everything from the way you talk to the way you stand to the way you eat your food. So it's everything that we teach them here.
You know, it's funny you say that, because when I did decide that I'm going to do some TV shows, and I went to do some understudies with some really good directors, you know, the first thing they told me is, you're one of the most smartest, most beautiful woman I've ever met, and you look like crap in front of the camera. Whoa, gut hit, you know? And I go, well, you know, and they were really, he was coming down on me. My staff was like ready to kill him. And I'm like, no, I need to hear this. He says, I look like crap. None of you told me that, you know? And so I asked him, how do I fix that? So he gave me his 24-hour crunch, because we were at a conference in Vegas, right? And the next time I saw him, I actually did some work for him, because I am smart. I am technically smart, and he needed somebody to do the interviews for him. Apparently his host didn't come that day. So, but he taught me the right things. Make sure you always have a jacket, because a jacket always pulls you together. Always make sure you are production ready, right? When you walk out the door,
Yeah.
don't ever not be production ready. When you walk out that door, always be production ready, because you never know when a camera is going to be in your face. And then he taught me the right way to sit in front of a camera, which I didn't know there was a right way or wrong way. But he told me, he goes, normally you're in front of 3 cameras, right? I said, yeah. He goes, find out what angles each one of them are there for. One's always for your guest. One's always, and then, you know, to sit a certain way, point my knee at the camera that's going to be
Yeah.
he was telling me all this and I'm writing notes, and I go, and I go, wow, some people make all of this look so natural, right? And he goes, well, it comes with practice, right? That after a while, but he said, go look, he says, as much as you don't want to do this, go look at your post work and work at making it so people don't have to do edits. Make it so that you're aimed right. Make it so that you're talking right, and your eyes are looking. And it's hard to do. That's discipline.
Yeah.
That is, your eyes will burn out sometimes, like because you're staring at the right camera, and people don't know. Sometimes you're staring at a camera and it's meant to make you look like you're staring at that person, but you're not.
Yeah.
Same thing with models, right? Something that I've learned to respect about models is they got to get all of this pulled together and packaged right, and then they got to go live. And their moment of fame is 1 to 2 minutes on that stage, right? And they got to sell this in less than a minute. They got to sell everything, and all of this is the way you look into the audience, as right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I
And
think
the way
that's
you work
absolutely
it,
right.
and the smile on your face or your eyes are 100% the sell of whatever that outfit is. This is something I've learned, and it's not easy to do, so people respect it. It's hard to come up with the fashion designs that are going to trend every year, and and it's hard to maintain that look, right? You have to maintain the body, you have to maintain the physique. It's people don't understand what people put into it. Is you need to respect it a lot more than what we do. How has it impacted your industry? I'm sure it slowed you down some. Are you coming up with some new ways of getting your designs and fashions and ideas out there, like maybe some online fashion shows?
So yes, so we are having a lot of virtual fashion shows these days on all social media platforms. That's what the designers are doing. But besides that, we are having a lot of online contests. So people who are actually wanting to get into modeling and stuff like that. There's a lot of modeling online contests which are happening, and these days in India, there's a lot of controversy going on between which platform is better, because everybody's home these days. So there's, on one side there's YouTube, and on the other side people are talking about TikTok. So they're like, which has more content, which is more informative, which has more viewers? So that's the debate which is actually going on in India these days. And there's a lot of roasting going on YouTube, and then there are some TikTokers doing that roasting. So there's a lot of things happening all around here.
So there is, and it becomes oversaturated. It becomes more noise than it is information, right? Because you don't know what is real or what isn't. And that's the reason why we wanted to start IBM.TV, is to help filter out that noise, right? Bring the real content, bring the real news, the real information to the world. Because we felt like the name IBM, but we call it International Broadcasting Media, or IB Mental. I'm just kidding. But we wanted to bring smart TV. We wanted to filter out the noise, because YouTube is just way oversaturated. And now it's even more oversaturated. So how do we sort out that content and bring the people the real stuff and what they need? And how do you make it safe and informative and knowledgeable? And entertaining all at the same time. So we wanted to do something, Ankit and I have talked to designers and things like that. We wanted to do something in the fashion industry, because we felt like it was probably the one that was hit and impacted the most, because a lot of your shows were coming up, right? It takes you, explain, how long does it take a fashion industry to prepare even for a fashion show? What does it take?
So I'm a runway director. So I'm also do a lot of runway directions. So putting together a fashion show is like something. It's not an easy task at all, because from your backstage management to your lights to your music and your choreography, and there's to your makeup, your styling, to your hairstyling. There are a lot of things that are on your shoulders while directing a fashion show. And one little glitch in any one of the departments is like a blow to the whole fashion show that you're doing. So you're actually putting in a lot of hard work, a lot of a lot of patience in creating a fashion show. And when you do a fashion show, you have to take care of the minutest things, because just if even if a model looks from here to here, it's like so noticeable, because all the eyes are at just one person at that time. So when the music has to fade out, when the music has to go on, when the music has to be on a halt, so they're all things that has to be in our minds on the right time. Anything on the wrong time can just be a disaster when it comes to a fashion show.
Yeah.
So so it's really not a piece of cake, but I would say it's a very interesting job to do. So it gives you a kick, it gives you so much of happiness, and so much of fulfillment when you actually put across a successful fashion show.
So let's talk about this a little bit, because it probably takes more than a month to prepare for the big event and everything. It's a lot of time, a lot of energy. You got everybody psyched up and everything. But now I think the trends need to change a little bit, right? You probably had prepared for the spring and summer trends, and we kind of missed out on that. But let's talk about, if you were to shift some change in our clothing, right, for new fashion coming out after COVID, right? Because our whole social engagement's changing. They want us to distance. I keep joking, let's get the hoop skirts back out, right? Because a hoop skirt definitely keep you a couple of feet apart. But and again, I'm joking, but how would you change your fashions for re-entry after COVID?
I think there's going to be a lot of, first of all, I think the fashion industry is down for the next 1 year, because everybody's planning not to get out of their houses, especially for social meetings. So, nobody's planning to go on buying designer clothes, unless it's somebody's marriage they're wanting to wear it on. But, there's going to be a lot of changes in the fashion when COVID is actually over. In fact, I was seeing a picture day before, there was a fashion show, there was a fashion shoot going on, and both the models were covered with, a sheet of paper which was transparent. So it was like 2020 photo shoots be like. So I was like, oh my God, this is so hilarious. So,
some humor, right?
Yeah. So it was really funny, but I think there's going to be a lot of change in fashion, and it's not just going to happen; it's actually happening. So there are a lot of designers who started designing designer masks. So if you're wearing an Indian traditional suit, you have a matching mask along with it. So it's like a part of your outfit that you're wearing.
Yeah,
So
definitely, yeah, the mask, but there's got to be more, right? We got to have outer clothing that we can wear that would protect us a little bit more. Maybe different kinds of layers, so that when we get somewhere, we take off the outer clothing. I joke with everyone that we're going to go to the Darth Vader suit, right? because it's definitely right. You got the breathing, you got the head protection, you got outer or stormtrooper, right? A little sexier, right? A little sexier than Darth Vader, anyway. But that we're going to have to go to something, right? Science fiction kind of, I think, wrote what was going to happen to us in the future. We're not going to be able to breathe our own air, I think is what they were thinking. But in all actuality, all of this was to prevent viruses. I think if we look back in history at the fashions, they might have been designed to protect women from getting contagious diseases more so than protecting them for religion. And maybe religion wrote it so that it would be easier for them to accept dressing certain ways, right? Perhaps the veils and the outer clothing were really designed to protect them from various diseases, as opposed to just protecting them in a religious way. When I look back at history, I also look at the hoop skirts and the bigger skirts that came out. And everyone said, well, that was meant to make our tummies look smaller, right? To make us look thinner. Yeah. But also, if you think about it, back then, a lot of diseases were spreading, right? So
yeah. I think whatever you're talking about now is just going to come back again. I think it's all back again. Whether it's about layering your clothes, and if you're wearing an outfit, then there's a proper layering that you're wearing over it, and when you get to your occasion, you actually take it off. Exactly. And probably those headgears, the different kind of headgears you could be wearing, just just to protect your hair, maybe, and maybe some hand pieces to wear along with your outfit. So there's going to be a drastic change in the way people are going to look at fashion now.
Well, because women many years ago, the Southerners especially, would wear gloves. And a lot of people thought it was a fashion statement, and it was. I mean, if you could afford all that clothing and material, that was a status thing. But it was also to protect them. See, a lot of people don't realize it, but they were wearing the gloves to protect themselves from other diseases so that they didn't touch things that were dirty, right? And the white gloves were there for a purpose as well. They were not supposed to get their hands dirty. So, I think if we really look at the trends, back in the day, they were intended more to protect the people than it was but they made it the trend. They made it a religion. They made it easier for women to accept to wear things certain ways. I think the veils were truly intended to protect people from diseases, right?
Absolutely.
And I think that these practices might have to come back and we make them look attractive, right? A veil definitely doesn't protect you like a mask, but maybe underneath the veil, there is something that fits a little bit better. That's not as constricting, but just as protective. So there's so many things that you can do with trends and fashion now that, like you said, protect the hair. People don't realize our hair can get COVID. Our hair, it can get on us in our hair. And then, so now we have to probably wash our hair a lot more. But a helmet's looking more and more attractive to me.
Absolutely, yes. I think that's one thing that's really attractive when you look at someone.
Yeah, a helmet's looking very attractive to me because it's protecting my hair, it's protecting my face, things like that. The stormtrooper suits were actually kind of sexy if you go look at them, right? So.
Yeah.
But nothing can get through them, right? They were intended for you to go in outer space with. But building our immunity. So some of the things that have changed in your life, have you done more exercising now that you've been locked down a little bit more, or what are you doing?
I really don't want to do what everybody is doing. So I open my social media, and two things that I definitely see on my social media: all boys and girls working out in their houses. And the second thing I do is, on the contrary, I would say they're cooking a lot of delicious things.
Oh, yeah.
So on the other hand, they're working it out, and on the other hand, they're just gaining a lot of calories. So no, I'm not actually working out, but the household chores are so much that actually it becomes equivalent to a workout.
It's you get more exercise. This is what the doctors who have been on our show a lot, which I have been so thankful for them, because some of them definitely world renowned. All of them definitely impacted by the COVID and giving us some good advice. But most of it was just because you're locked at home doesn't mean you stay inside. You need to get outside. You need to get fresh air. You need to get the sun on you, because that makes you happy. But the fresh air is good for you. And from what I've heard, the air has definitely cleaned up there. It's definitely cleaned up here because people are not driving as much. We're not doing as many things that to pollute the air. But people are cooking more, aren't they? Wow. It's we call it the COVID-19 for a reason, right? You put on 19 pounds of So you might want to join us on Sunday. We have Dr. Yu, who is doing the COVID-19 challenge. We're going to make you lose the COVID-19, and that's the night. And so we do hot yoga, right? We do hot yoga every Sunday, but we air it all through the week, right? And what's interesting is what I love about him is he's so honest. It's like he hasn't done this in a while, and he's struggling too. So he's kind of laughing. Yeah, I haven't done this in a while, so it's going to be difficult for me. I don't expect you to do all the moves I can do, but don't expect me to do all the moves we're supposed to do. And it's fine because he struggles at it too, right? He's not perfect, and makes me feel better, right? That he can't.
So I'm definitely gonna tune in on Sunday then, and. Yeah. So Kimberly, which part of the world are you in?
The USA. So I'm
USA.
Yeah.
So I see a lot of news. What is actually happening in the US?
We're a big joke. First off, don't follow our footprint, right? As you can see, our infectious rates increase, our deaths went way above the whole world combined. If you really take a look at the numbers, we don't know what we're doing. We are angry, self-entitled people here. And I closed down 2 weeks early thanks to the global board we have, right? And I was listening. Oh my gosh, this is bad, right? I kept waiting for our president to do something, and he was lining his own pocket and preparing to, do things and shut down at a certain time so he didn't look bad. So his delays cost us many lives. So yeah, we're not very smart over here. We're supposed to be re-engaging, what I call re-enter, but I'm sitting back and waiting to see what happens to the rest of the world when they re-enter, because we're still seeing a climb in infections and a climb in deaths. But how do you feel?
It's increasing, or there's a little bend in the curve?
We don't have a bend in the curve. We haven't. You want to see it? Here, let's see if I can pull it up. Usually Ankit is.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I'll show you. We've had definitely no change. Let me reset we're this is the. Do you want to see the U.S. compared to the rest of the world, or just the U.S.? Let's see if I can pull it up and show you. Here we go. Let's just look at the U.S. I was looking at the United Kingdom just a minute ago, because sometimes they don't pull their stats up equal to the world. But if you look at the United States, we're over 1.5 million.
Wow.
92,000 deaths. And our curve, if you take a look at our curve, which I don't know how honest it is, because we're not testing everybody. So we don't know if people died, if it was really due to, well, they took our curve down. We used to have a status curve. I guess they took it down because it looked really bad. But let me
15 lakh is a lot of cases. That's a lot.
Look at New York, just by itself, New York, right? So let's take a look at the world stats.
These are those cases which are reported, actually. So there are a lot of cases which are not reported. So you can see the figure.
Yeah.
You can imagine the figure. And
so if we were to take a look at the world of, let me pull this up. I'll stop this screen and pull up the whole world. It's disappointing. I would have expected more out of our country. Other countries took earlier precautions, and by doing so, they prevented a lot of deaths. I think testing is very important if you're going to do reentry. Testing will do two things. It gives you early detection, right? So if you test every day, you can get early detection. What I'm talking about is testing every day. Early detection, so that you can do early treatments and isolation. You can quickly isolate the problem. Ankit and I know this for a fact. Wholesale, the test kits, the dual test kits, rapid test kits, cost about $10 for a pack of 30. So a person can test themselves every day for a month for $30 or $10, right? So that's not so bad. You're able to test yourself. Everyone says, well, by the time you test it, you can get infected in 5 minutes. Yeah, but you're testing tomorrow. You'll know tomorrow. But problem with corona that nobody really understood is you could have it, be infected for 14 days and not have any symptoms, right? And you can you're infectious, you're contagious the day you become infected. So the problem was the United States wasn't listening to the WHO or CDC. They were listening to the president, who kept saying, oh, it's just like the flu. More people die of the flu. It's not going to hit us bad. It's not going to contain. If it comes to us, we'll have it under control. And so this is the world. The world is right at almost 5 million.
So heartbreaking it is.
Right. So 5 million is the world. So if you look at the world, the U.S. versus the whole world, right? The whole world's at 1.5 million in the U.S. carries almost 1.5. New cases yesterday. This is yesterday. New cases 4,839, and new deaths yesterday were 217, which doesn't sound like a lot for the whole United States.
Yeah, I think this is for today's. This looks like the today's data because it says new, and then I think they started with GMT 000.
Oh,
So I
this is
think this is
yesterday's data. Hold on just a second. It's not giving it. Oh, because we're not at, what time is it? Oh, they update at noon.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah,
yesterday's. So this is yesterday's data. So this is the problem with the data. One, the test that when they first started reporting this, the data was 10 days late.
Yeah.
So it was 10 days ago data because of the testing, right? So that's a little more current. We're able to do the testing a little bit faster, but we're still 10 days behind. So if you look at this data, we're actually 10 days behind. But this is yesterday's. They upload every day at noon. But if you notice, not every country is reporting.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
Doses, but they will update occasionally. Like you'll see, maybe Spain will update Wednesday. The UK, I sometimes go out just to the UK by themselves and pull their data. So not everybody's reporting daily like they should. Germany saw an increase, but if you take a look at a per million, is kind of gives you an idea of the damage that is done on a per capita basis, right? So if you go over here and you take a look at the deaths per million, actually Spain had a higher ratio on a per capita basis. So, but still the United States on a 1-to-1 basis, if you were counting political votes 1-to-1 basis, the United States still is in the lead. And this is not something you want to be in the lead in. This is not something you want to be proud of. One of the things that's disturbing to me is they are making the Americans feel good about this by saying, well, we predicted it could have been worse. And I'm like, is that smart? Yeah, thank you for laughing at that. Right? That's a joke, right? That's what I asked. That's a joke, right? So they downplay the deaths. And I don't think you should downplay the deaths. These deaths should not have happened. And one of the things I love about David K. Johnston, who is a Pulitzer Prize author and a tax expert, but he's also a numbers expert, is he says that he blames the president for every death after a certain amount. So he has a value point. And it's not that those people didn't matter. He just said that if we had taken action sooner, none of these deaths would have happened. But this is what I tell people: if you are early detected, you can be early treated, and that will prevent what? Probably hospitalization. The reason why people are going to the hospital is by the time they're aware they have it, the damage is already done. So by the time you get a symptom, the damage is already done. And I'll share with you, you might not know what this is, and you might, but do you know what these are?
Not really.
Okay, so they're very sharp sweet gum balls that grow here in the United States. They hurt they're very, very sharp. To touch them, it's like a bunch of thorns, right? From a rose bush. Each of these spikes are like a thorn. And I can hold them because I know how to hold them. I don't press. But that's what corona is like. But you got thousands of them, and they go into your body and they tear your lungs to look like a honeycomb. Yeah, so there's thousands of these that go in to your lungs, and then they tear your lungs like a honeycomb. And that's not what they're not being transparent about this, right? That the damage could be permanent. But think about this: you got it, and it's in there tearing at your lungs for 14 days before you get a symptom. So how much damage do you think is done by then?
True.
Moreover, we don't have a study that what will happen post-COVID if someone will be free from COVID and they tested negative. But there will be a situation where they will have some kind of issue in later part of their life. Maybe something happened because the study is still not completed. And a lot of people are also facing disinfection difficulties. Living their day-to-day life because they are not suffering from COVID now, but they are suffering from something else. Because COVID is still in your body, they just deactivate it sometime, or sometime it just goes out, whatever it is. But it's still there. So now we have to still try to how to live with COVID. That is what our learning should be. Because once we have a vaccine, we will be more secure and we will be more stress-free. But we need to know how to live with COVID. That's more important now.
Well, and the thing is just because you get a vaccine doesn't mean this won't happen again. I feel like there are more coronaviruses. The coronavirus has been around since it was identified in 1964 under microscope. Generally found in the birds, right, and animals. And I think it was a bird and a pig that the scientists discovered this in. The first boy it was discovered in was not long after 1964. It was discovered in a young boy. And I think he was struggling like pneumonia-like symptoms, but he wasn't being they couldn't find pneumonia in him. So she went and tested it and found that he actually had corona in his lungs. So they have known for a very, very long time that this coronavirus existed. And it creeps out occasionally, like Mars and SARS was actually corona. So the permanent damage that it causes, they've not been transparent to the people. Think about that being inside you, tearing you up for 14 days before you even get to treat it. That's why so many people died. It had nothing to do with the corona itself, okay, according to the doctor.
So what I want to know is the corona self-testing kit that you're talking about. So, does it detect the virus before 14 days or it detects after the symptoms start coming out?
So it's 85% accurate, but if you do it every day, certainly you'll catch it. But it tests the embodies inside of you. So it's going to identify whether you have COVID or had it.
All right.
So those are the two things you want to know. Did you have it? One of the tests now can determine whether you've had it for at least 10 days. It will know that it will tell you that you've had it past 10 days. So the thing though is to do it every day, right? Get in a habit, just like you would for diabetes, and test your bodies. And then you will know. So, but the key is to know more instantly. Maybe it tests wrong the first day or the second day, but by the third day, it might catch it. But then you take what they call the PCR test, which is more accurate, right? And then they start treatments. And the treatments then are more symptomatic treatments. And they get you through it. Now you have it, and you have hopefully, you are defensive to it in the future. And can become a plasma donor to help other people get past it, because they know that plasma from recovered patients have helped other patients get through it. But the key behind this is early detection for early isolation, but also early treatment. But yeah, $30. I mean, not $30, $10 for the test kit. I'm sure it costs money because you have to send it into the labs, but certainly it's cheaper than what they're doing now to send stimulants.
The practical ways to prevent it from the virus, and then try to boost your immunity. And if you want to go for a testing, maybe you can do it bi-weekly, because it's not possible for everyone to do a test every day and then send those kids to the lab so that they can test it. But I think if we can work on our immunity, and try to take all the right precautions and try to avoid the physical touch and all those things. I mean, whatever ways we can do, and try to go out.
I think we should also have kits like that in India, because we also really need kits like that over here. And I think that's a very beneficial thing for everybody. So $30, and if you're getting it tested for almost 30 days, I think it's quite fine.
Yeah, I agree. And the President of the United States is doing it. He's not expecting us to do it. In fact, he's not asking. I mean, he's not suggesting it. But so he's not one of those leaders that does things for his people. He does things for himself. I'm a leader, so I deserve this. But he's testing every day. Every day.
And that's the right way. You should need to take all the precautions. Because if the right precautions are not taken.
I agree.
And I'll tell you one more thing. Once we have the vaccine out, it's difficult to vaccinate for 7 billion people around the world in one go. So we need to wait years and years so that once you get the vaccination done. So prevention is the best option. You can't do testing for next 5 years. I mean, you might be doing it for next 3 months, 4 months, maybe 6 months, but after that you will also stop doing it, or maybe you change the cycle of testing. But if you prevent yourself well, and if you try to follow the right ways and right precautions, and try to live with COVID, and most importantly, eat healthy and try to boost your immunity. If you have good immunity, I mean, I think Corona won't be able to get in your body.
Like Ankit said, even if we right now just tested twice a week just to re-enter so we can go to work. And then that prevents them from, like in our country, having to spend 2.2 trillion doing stimuluses and saving companies. They could have done that from the very beginning. And granted, people go, well, there weren't any test kits, and there were. You just have to manufacture them faster. So what you do is you, I hate saying this, but not quite eminent domaining, but you demand the makers and the manufacturers that they will be producing more, right? You give them the resources to produce more so that you can do what? Do more testing. And there's our Dr. Yu. Hello, Dr. Yu.
I'm just checking in real quick. I got another Zoom call at 9. I'm going to learn how to do LinkedIn marketing. So, but
LinkedIn marketing. It's oversaturated right now, but hey, so I'm glad you came on, because I shared with Jagnoor your hot yoga class that we did to help lose the COVID-19, and he's going to join us.
Yeah, maybe you could just show the recording. It's tough talking and doing,
You did well, but you know what was encouraging about it is you were honest. You said, I haven't done this in a long time, and you were honest about it, but it made me encourage me. Hey, if he can
our sound got cut off.
Right. But you were honest about everything. And I appreciated that. It made me feel better about myself because you were doing it, and you haven't done it in a long time. So no, he said he's going to join us. So absolutely. Yeah. We'll get a fan base going, and we're going to lose the COVID-19. That's our idea. Lose COVID-19. So what brings you to us today? You got okay. Sometimes technical difficulties, folks, but we learn to bounce in, beam in and out, as Nick calls it. Beaming in. We're like, Star Trek, beam in and out. My executive producer likes to pretend like we're beaming in and out. But anyway, so yeah, Dr. Yu is a stem cell research and chiropractor, and we actually got to see a live procedure of stem cell treatments on our show the other day. It was really cool.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I expected it to be kind of gross, but it wasn't. It was very, very cool. Because I had no idea.
All right, my next question to you all is, what do you think the next big question? When is a vaccine going to come in the market? Because it's just getting on my nerves, and I think it's getting on almost everybody's nerve to be locked down in the house, and we so badly all want to get out. So what do you think? People are saying somebody's got a breakthrough in this vaccine, somebody's got a breakthrough in that vaccine, but there's nothing concrete coming out as to, is there actually a vaccine? I know there are a lot of vaccines in process, but do we actually have something concrete?
No,
That's a $1 million question. That's a $1 million question, Jagnoor. No one knows when it comes to come. But finger crossed, I think we can see a vaccine sometime in December or early 2021. But before it comes here.
Because the COVID has.
I'm just relying on the sources of what's going on.
The sources say, but let me tell you, every time you hear the media say there's a guy coming up with a vaccine, do you watch and listen? Do you turn it on and go, oh, okay, that's all you're getting is the media is getting your attention. That's all they want to do. That's why, we listen to our doctors who come and share with us. David, hi, Ben David. The media does that to get your attention, to make you think hope. But to be honest with you, by the time first off, you got to figure out the strains of viruses you got, and then you got to test it, and then you got to test it in animals, because even though that doesn't sound humane, it's less humane to test it in humans. So they're going to have to test it, and it's a long process. It's not.
I think they will play with the mind as well. What they will do is that they will launch a vaccine which would not be a coronavirus vaccine, but would be a vaccine which boosts your immunity. And that vaccine will also work, because if you boost your immunity not with healthy food but with the vaccine, that will also cause a, you can save yourself as well. But before we don't have a vaccine, we have something to share. This is what we offer to our viewers.
That's right.
This is a vaccine.
That's your vaccine.
Yeah.
Stay home.
That's your vaccine.
That's the vaccine. Yeah. The time we don't have anything.
Distancing, good practices, build your immunity. Everything the doctors have been sharing with us, build your immunity. Stem cell research is showing some great ways to for preventive, as opposed to a vaccine, which we say is preventive, but it's full of junk. Because vaccines are nothing but pharmaceuticals making more money.
Yeah.
And we just want to be careful about this, but there's nothing wrong with building our immunity, taking supplements that build our immunity, that make us healthier, doing the right exercises. They've proven that the sunshine does kind of deter the COVID. There you go, B12.
We have our old golden recipe Chawanprash that is good for this kind of pandemic.
Chawanprash, oh God.
Yeah, the black
All
dog.
the variants,
But yeah, he I'm going to have to get a jar of it, pickles. But let me explain something to you. All the doctors have been talking about this since day one on our show, which I've been very proud of because we've been more transparent than the media about what's really happening. And they talked about building your immunity. But what was interesting to me is how Dr. Yu kept saying, get in the sunshine because the sunshine actually kills the COVID, corona. But then Dr. Art came on, and do you know how he's sanitizing his non-reusable PPE equipment? The mask and stuff that they have to wear because they're not getting new ones. Do you know how he sanitizes?
UV lights?
No, he puts it in the sun in his dashboard.
Yeah.
He puts all of his PPE equipment in the sun and lets the sun kill the corona. So that, to me, was a big statement of the more sunshine we get, the better. And I don't think it's the warmer weather, but the more sunshine we get, because it is a host virus that likes a hot body. So, when they kept saying that the heat's going to kill it, I'm like, nah, I don't think so, because it likes my body, right? It's getting in my body's 102. So, exactly what kind of heat are we talking about? We can't live in that kind of heat. So, but Dr. Yu and Dr. Art and a couple of other doctors, they solidified it's the sun and the vitamin D that helps our bodies recover from it. So just, do the healthy things. It's not going to kill you, I don't think. Healthy things shouldn't kill you.
So on that note, I think I'm going to make a move now. And it was really lovely talking to all of you. Thank you, Ankit. Thank you, Kimberly. And it was nice seeing you, Dr. Ben. And I hope to see you guys soon, very soon.
Before you go, I just wanted to share something. So this could be a fashion for future.
Yeah, me and Kimberly actually discussed about this.
Yes, yeah. We discussed how the mask matched the suit.
And also, I'll tell you, you might have seen David on Doom 3. He was there on the Doom 3 movie.
Which one?
He was in the Doom 3 movie.
I was
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna see the movie again then.
Yeah. And let's support each other. And you know what? Let's get a fashion show online on IBM TV. Get your fashions out here.
Absolutely, we can plan a virtual fashion show on IBM TV, and it's gonna be great.
Let's
So